Shut up and sit down.
Let us do some smart plugs. That's a self-tapper. You don't do that. Come on, people. And then they go and put a Torx in that side and nuts there. Now that is somebody just being lazy. Torx keys. Right, what size have we got? Let's try T20. Too small. It happens to be T30. So let's get a longer one. For that one bolt, T30, that was a bloody self-tapper somebody had put in. I find that really annoying. They look like 12s. Can't get a long socket in. They're 10mm. There lies the heart of an M2 engine. This at some point has had a set of coils, because none of these coils are genuine, not one of them. Let's get the coils out. They're going to be 10mm as well. I can get a long socket on them. Alright, just a little closer look for you. There's 4 coils. It's coil on plug. They're held on with 10mm bolts. And I'm just going to lift all the bolts out. And then there's 2 more bolts down here which hold the wiring loom, which all the coils are connected to. I'm not disconnecting them, I'm just going to lift them all out in one batch. Then I'm going for the plugs. These are the sort of jobs you should do whenever you buy a project car. Even if somebody said, I've just serviced it, don't trust them. Even if you see a receipt, you never know. This has probably not been long serviced, because I know it's got clean oil in it, a new oil filter, but it hadn't had an air filter for a long time. So I'm going to assume it's not had plugs for a long time. But if you're doing yourself, you know where you've started with the car. You know what mileage you bought it at. So you know you've gone through it all. You've done your plugs, your air filter, your oil filter, changed your oil. You've done your basics. You just get your basics done, you're halfway there. How do you get these off here? I know how you get them off. The silly Toyota clips. Oh, these are original. That's an original Toyota coil pack. When you take them out, make sure they're not soaked in oil, because that means your rocker cover gasket is not leaking. And I always try and make a point of putting them back in the order they came out. The only time I change coil packs about is if I'm chasing a misfire, and then I go for a known good. That one doesn't want to come out at the moment, so we won't worry about that. Looks like I need to take that off. Okay. That's number 4. It's bone dry. Just need to get the other 2 out. And what's stopping me getting them out is this plastic rail. So I've got 2 more bolts down there to remove. You can't get that bolt mixed up with the bolts that hold the coil packs in. It's shorter. And that one is a nut. Another dry coil. And another dry one. And they're all Toyota Denso. They're all original coil packs, which is good. they're all dry. So let me find the appropriate spanner and get them out. If you're interested, they are 10mm plug spanner. And I like to screw things like this by hand, not with power tools. I get a better feeling of the threads. Oh no, somebody's committed the cardinal sin. They put Bosch plugs in a Japanese car. Don't do that, people. Let me lay these plugs out in order as we take them out. We'll have a look at them once I've got them all out. I really don't like Bosch plugs in Japanese engines. If you're going to run a Japanese engine, you put Denso or NGK in them. Don't put anything else in them. Another Bosch plug. Now that is cruel. It was never designed to run on Bosch plugs. They're a German plug. They belong in Volkswagens, Audis, Porsches, that kind of stuff, Mercedes, BMs. Not in a Japanese engine, people. Please don't. Just don't do it. Drop that one on the floor. That was number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Let's go and have a look at these plugs. Oh, I am butterfingers tonight. They all look very, very good. Well, the gap's a bit big because them plugs are a little bit worn. What I'm putting back in is NGKs, and I'm putting in BKR5EA11s. That's what's going back in it, that's what should be in it. So let me get the rest of the plugs out of the service box and start putting these back in. But never ever, please don't put Bosch plugs in the Japanese car. Is anybody interested to see what the inside of this engine looks like if I get an endoscope out? Let's do that whilst we've got access to the plug holes. Let me get the borescope. I'm going to use a borescope and I'm going down the cylinders. It's got a little light on it, so let's see what we can see. We straighten that out. That's the top of a piston. That's number one. That looks really good. Just leave that there. Let's just switch. You might just be able to make out there's still cross hatching on the bore. That's number one. That's in good condition. That's the top of a piston again. This piston's a little bit higher up than the other one. Remarkably good condition. Number three. This one's really high up as well. Yeah, they're really good. Number four. This one should be a bit further down. No, it's not. There we go. All them pistons look absolutely amazing. We have ourselves what looks like a very, very healthy engine. You don't need a borescope for service work. It's just, when you're looking for problems, it's just such an easy way to get a good view into an engine, and you can have a quick look around. It's absolutely brilliant when you're trying to find a burnt out valve or something like that. Right, so we've taken four coil packs off, 4 plugs out, and we've had a look inside the engine. And what you see on the top of the pistons is just normal carbon, but the cross hatching's still in the bores. So this is it's not an oil burner, and it's a clean engine. Let me get 4 NGK spark plugs to put back in. There is a bit of conjunction on the internet. Do you put copperies on these threads, or do you put them in dry? Me, personally, dry. And I start them by hand and I seat them by hand. Final torque will be done. That one's seated, because you can quite easily damage the threads on the cylinder head. So if you do it by hand, you get a feel to the spark plug going in and how it's feeling and how the thread feels. If they go all the way in by hand, you're not going to damage anything. Just seat them lightly, because we are going to re-torque them afterwards. NGK do give you a torque setting In fact, they give you an angle setting, it's half to 2/3 of a turn. So I'm going to go for the angle setting. But you get a feel for spark plugs. Last one now. Be gentle with them, because if you catch them on the way down, you can close the electrode off. So just be careful. Right. Quarter, half. Quarter, half. Quarter, half. All you're doing there is squashing the crush washer. Quarter, half. This might not focus, but it says on the back of the box there, half to 2/3 of a turn. I've done half a turn because that's where they felt they were crushing the washer. Let me put plug spanner away on the long extension, and we'll start reinserting the coil packs. You can't get these wrong. They only go in one way. Locate them on the plug, push them down. Get one of your 10mm bolts. And just start it by hand. I've kept these in order. They're all nice and clean. You'll feel them click onto the plug. And last but not least, line it up with the hole, find the last bolt, there we go. I am a great believer in starting bolts by hand. If you can screw them in by hand, you know they're not damaged, there's no tight spots on them. Just nip, that's all they want, just a nip. Just seat them on a nip, because you can break the coil packs because they're only plastic. So it's just nip. It's not even an 1/8 of a turn. Now we just put back what we took off. So I'm just going to have a quick tidy up of tools, and I'll be back in a sec. Right, I've fitted the wiring harness off camera because I needed 2 hands to do it. Because it's quite fiddly. Again, these are only nipped up. You can't get your coil wires mixed up because of the nice design Sotra have given you. Every coil wire comes out of the loom in the correct place, so click, click, click. I've just been stung by a bloody wasp. And click. So that's all the coil packs bit. All the coil packs reconnected, harness refastened down, coil packs fastened down, and new spark plugs. And we've done the air filter. And I'm leaving the plastic cover off for now, because my next job is to try and get them 2 bolts out, so I can get the cover off to get some penetrating oil on the manifold nuts for when my new manifold turns up. So let's have a look at, see if any of them will come apart. I have already doused these once. Let's give them another go. That one is absolutely rusted to hell. What size are they? Or what size were they? At some stage in their life, I think they were 10mm. Let me get a wire brush. There's nothing left of them. There's absolutely nothing left of them. I think I'm going to end up grinding them off tomorrow and breaking it off. I'm not doing any grinding tonight. That's a whole tin of brake clean gone. Two tins of brake cleaner. I think that's when I'm leaving it tonight. I think that's about enough for tonight. So I've done the air cleaner, cleaned the MAF sensor, 4 plugs. Yep, tomorrow's job, get that off. And then go and order 2 new lambda sensors and penetrate all the bolts down there. I'm not really bothered if they break. The ones I'm bothered about are the ones on the engine. I don't want any of them breaking, because then I've opened up a can of worms, because I've then got to drill all the studs out, put new studs in. I'm hoping I can get all the nuts off, but I want the cover off so I can penetrate in and oil them, get the engine nice and hot, give them another dousing in penetrating oil, and keep doing that for a day or two, and then hopefully they'll all come loose. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed them 2 little jobs on the MR2 on the project car. Good night.